Hi everybody and welcome back to another question and answer video. I'm sat in the garden. This time I'm in the shade because it is a very hot day today. So I did put out on social media a question to ask us anything, and I'm going to try and answer the questions that came back as best as I can. So it's a combination of questions from Instagram stories and on YouTube. So let's just get straight into the first question. So the first question is, how was the month of June for you? June was a really good month, I think, for both myself and Matt. I think I can speak for both of us. We got our wedding video back, so it was really lovely to watch that back and relive all those fantastic memories. It was also a month of good weather, so that was really nice. Whenever the sun comes out in the UK, that's always a good thing. And it was the month where, well, it wasn't the month, it was almost the month, because it kind of happened in June, but the TV show that we filmed 2 years ago came out. I think that was the 2nd of July, so not quite in June, but we were gearing up for it coming out, so we were all really excited about that. So all in all, it was a good month, and I don't think I can really say much more about that. The only other thing that would have topped it off even better would have been going away on holiday. All married couples argue. What are those topics for you that just press each other's buttons? I don't really think we argue terribly too much. I think it's just like everybody, it could be snoring, nocturnal noises, loud crunching when eating, that kind of thing. I don't really think we haven't really had any major disagreements. We pretty much agree with each other on most things, so yeah, there isn't really anything major. There's no tea spill for you on that one. Will you be doing more house tours? I love them. Absolutely. We really love doing house tours. In fact, we have 2 that we're filming for a developer that we've not filmed for before on Friday. So expect over the next few weeks, I'll probably put one out, one a week. So yeah, I don't think they are they're not huge houses, they're not mansions by any stretch of the imagination, but they are normal show home houses of a size that I think most people might be able to afford or visualize themselves living in. But yes, we would definitely love to do more and varied house tours. We're known for doing new build show homes, but we'd also like to do lots of resale houses as well. If you watched our Cotswolds Raffle House draw tour that we did, that was a house that someone lived in. So I think we've kind of shown how we would do a house that someone lives in, because you've got to be a little bit more delicate when it comes to spaces that people actually live in. We can't just go around rooting and pulling out people's drawers and looking in every single cupboard and then showing all their possessions on YouTube. So it does take a little bit of a different approach when you're filming a resale house, but we would definitely love to get into that. We'd love to work with estate agents. In particular, I would love to get stuck into properties that are difficult to sell, because I think with our imagination and, the sort of visualization that we can do for a space, I think we could really take a property that was difficult to sell and put it out there, repackage it in a different context. So that's what I would love to get into and do more of. Do you have other career ambitions besides YouTube? No, I think there's so much more that you can do with YouTube and social media, but I think it's one of those things that's always evolving, it's always changing. And even though sometimes as a creator you might feel a little bit stagnant or you might feel a little bit stuck, there's always places to go if you've got the guts to take it to that next level. So I think there's plenty more that we'd love to do. As I said, we'd love to expand more into different sorts of house tours. We'd love to sort of take our style of how we do house tours and put that into the context of travel, holidays, hotels, whether it's budget or luxury. I think we could definitely do that. So no, I'm not going to be rushing to the employment agencies to get a job outside of YouTube. I love working from home, and although Matt's full-time job is not YouTube, we both work from home and we love the life that we have. It enables us to do lots together, but also have separate jobs as well. Are you happy with your home now? Is there anything you wished you'd done but didn't? And this is coming from someone who loves our home, by the way, she says. There are a few things, I think. I don't think whenever anyone does a renovation, you get things 100% right from the get-go. I think generally speaking, we did well. We thought about how we might want to live in the house, but there's only so much sort of looking forward that you can do. Your life inevitably changes, and things that you didn't anticipate in your life may come into your life. So for example, you know, this goes into another question which I'll touch on later, but people asked, what are we doing with surrogacy? What are we doing with children? I will treat that as a separate question. But when we designed this house, the renovation of it, we did not design it with the mind of we're going to be having children in the space. So we didn't think about certain things like it might actually be easier to have a bathtub in the bathroom rather than just a walk-in shower. Now I know when children are very young you can have a portable bath, but eventually I think we're going to have the bathroom redone to incorporate a bath. Now in a bathroom that size there's not much that we'd be able to actually reuse because we've got fitted units. The toilet is fitted into the fitted unit. That would have to go. It's pretty much doing the bathroom again. So I think we're reluctant to do that unless we get to the point where we absolutely have to. But I think that's the one room that we got wrong. What we did have was okay. I do wish instead of having the shower, the all-in-one shower unit, I do wish we'd had a more open unit, a traditional stand-in shower. But other than that, I think it's going to have to be a complete redo to get the bathtub in that small space. But that's about the only thing that I regret, I think. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that needs to be redone. Also, if I'd have had the money at the time, I would have loved to have had a front porch put on. That would have been really handy for extra shoes and coat storage, and also a bit of an airlock system at the front of the house to stop Bo from just running out of the front door every time we answer the door to Ronald McDonald or the Colonel whenever they decide to arrive. So a porch would have been nice, but we didn't have the money for that. Again, there are things like we need to get wardrobes fitted. We still haven't done that. So there's things, blinds, for example, we didn't have any extra cash for that. So, but other than that, I think we did quite well. Next question, which David Austin rose is your favourite? Oh, that's like asking which one's your favourite child. I don't think I have a favourite. They are all fantastic. They're all different in their own way. They've all got the different aromas and sizes and shapes and colours, and whether they're a once flowering rose or a repeat flowering, it's all different. I do like, out of my collection, the Morning Mist is really good. That seems to have flowered this year pretty much all the way through. Princess Anne is another really strong David Austin rose. It's the earliest that comes out, and it's one of the hardest working roses that I think I've got, and the smell, the scent, the aroma is delicious. So I'd say those are two that really stand out, but they're all lovely. I love Tottering by Gently. I love them all, really. Do you think you'll always live in Shropshire? It's hard to say always. Who knows what life throws at you, and at the moment we both have family that are reasonably close. My family live in Shropshire. Matt's family live in Wales, but just outside of the county. It's only about 40 minutes away. So at the moment I can't really see us moving away. In terms of where, ideally I'd love to live by the sea, or a lake in the Lake District. Like a really humongous body of water would be quite nice. I know we've got a pool at the front, like a big nature reservoir type pool, which is lovely, but it's not quite the seaside. So in terms of, would we be looking for somewhere to retire when we're very old? Maybe, but certainly for the foreseeable future, Shropshire is going to be our home. It's our base. We have no intention of looking for a new house unless we won the lottery. If we won the lottery or suddenly came into a lot of money, then maybe we might be looking for a mansion or somewhere of that nature. But no, at the moment we have no plans to move, no plans to switch house. Right, next set of questions. These ones have come from YouTube. If you did the TV show game of Mr. and Mr., or Mr. and Mrs., which you know the game, who out of the two of you knows the most about the other? Maybe we get you both answering questions totally unprepared oh, okay. So this person would like to see us do a video of like a Mr. and Mr. type game. But the first part of the question, that is a video idea. But the first part of the question was, who knows more about who? I think we both know about the same. I mean, we've been together for 6 years now, and I think we've spoken about many things about our past, and we certainly know what each other likes in day-to-day life and what our favourite of this is and what our favourite of that is. So I think it would be pretty even. I think we'd be fairly accurate. I mean, one of the things, if you watch our wedding video back, the videographer asked, what are we most nervous about each other, and we both got it right. We both said exactly the same things, which they left in the video, so that was quite cute, really. Next question: what is your favourite part about living in Shropshire, and are there any downsides? It is a very beautiful county. The countryside out and around of the main towns is second to none. I mean, people talk about the Cotswolds and all these other places, but actually the Shropshire countryside is one of the best in the entire country. It's very underrated and it's very overlooked, I think. And we do have lots of historical places, lots of National Trust places, lots of English heritage places. There's so much to do that when you're living here, it's like anywhere. When you live in a place, you often overlook what's actually there to go and see and do. So a lot of places are things that you might only want to do once. So if you're a tourist coming to Shropshire, there's loads of things. But when it comes to the downsides, we are landlocked, I suppose. There's a river that goes through. It's the River Severn. But in terms of the seaside, we are landlocked. We're a landlocked county. And I would like to be by the sea, would be quite nice. But other than that, we're fairly central in the country, so nothing is dramatically too far away. It's not as if you're going from, London down south up to Edinburgh. I mean, it's still quite far away for us, but we are centrally located, beautiful countryside. There's not much to not like about living in Shropshire. Right, next question. Dare we ask what the total cost of your wedding was? It looked incredible. It was incredible, but we also had an incredible bargain because we actually booked our wedding venue as a package. It was a late availability package, so I'm not sure whether or not the venue had a cancellation or not, but we couldn't believe that there was a date in May, a Saturday no less, that was available literally 2 days before Christmas when we booked it. So I think there may have been a cancellation. So we managed to get a really good late availability price, plus I managed to get a little bit of money knocked off as well. And the package included things like the DJ and the photographer that you would have to pay for separately. We did pay separately for a videographer on top of the photographer, but yeah, so we had everything at quite a good price. I think the average wedding price in the UK, if you're having a wedding of that kind of size, is around about 15 to 20,000. We came in under that, but I think what we had was equal to a wedding that you would probably pay about £25,000 for if you booked it 2 years out. Because we did it really, really quick, and I think we snagged a date that was that had become available, we got a really amazing price. So if you are thinking of getting married and you really aren't that bothered about waiting 2 years, which really worked well for us, because I don't think I would have liked to have been wedding planning for 2 years. So doing it in 6 months worked really well for us. Then there may be some venue bargains to really snap up. So that's something to consider. All in, I would say it was under 15,000. I don't know the exact total. I'm kind of guessing it was about 13.5 to 14.5. But like I said, we did have something that I think if you'd booked it further out, it would have been about 25,000. So basically we had a really good deal on it. Next question. Was there any part of your wedding day that really surprised you how well it turned out? You guys are such a lovely couple. Keep spreading the love and positivity. Thank you. Surprised me. There were there was one moment that surprised me. I didn't think the meeting, Matt and I meeting before we went down to do the actual ceremony, was going to be as emotional as it was. It was really emotional. Just sort of touching his back and then him turning round, and that was a tearjerker. I had to literally fight away the tears, or else I'd have been walking down the aisle with tear-streamed face. So that was really emotional. In terms of how well things turned out, I was really impressed with how the candelabras turned out. The ones where we did the fake flowers, that looked really, really good on the table settings. And also I was very surprised about how the cake turned out, because I did kind of think having 3 different types of cupcake and a single tier of fruitcake to cut, I thought that may have looked a little bit random, a bit ad hoc. But the way that the castle set up the cake with the cake stand and the little cake toppers that I bought. Remember, I had 2 cake toppers. One was one that we weren't supposed to have, and whilst we were waiting for the other one to come, but we used both of them and they looked really, really good. So I was really surprised with how well that turned out. So that was testament to the castle staff, who know exactly what they're doing. Right, I've got some more questions. What's been the biggest surprise about married life so far? There hasn't been any surprises. We've had a long engagement, and like I said, linking back to the other question, we know a lot about each other. So in terms of, there hasn't really been any surprises. I would say the only difference is that you kind of feel a little bit more official. Nothing has changed, but you kind of feel like you're recognised by the state. You feel like you're legally binded. It doesn't change how you feel about each other. It doesn't really change how you see each other as a couple. But you feel more recognised. And you know that you have certain rights if things happen. So kind of feels a bit different in that respect. Also, because we've double-barreled and joined our names, seeing for the first time our name in the post, that kind of thing, was really different. We still need to get our names changed on passports and things like that. So you have to send off your birth certificate, the original copy, but we have sort of officially changed our name. We just need to sort of cross a few T's and dot a few I's. How did you know that each other were the one? Well, it was from the first date, I think. I think it was from the first date. It was about a 7-hour first date, and then about a week passed and Matt went away with work and then came back, stayed at my house and then never left. So I think that was kind of the moment, I suppose. Would you consider building your dream home from scratch? Yes, if I had enough money and the land was perfect and we could have exactly what we wanted, absolutely. But at the moment, you know, building your own home from scratch takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money, which we don't have. So, but yes, I would love to do our dream home from scratch. What's the one home trend you love and one you'd never do? Okay, the one trend that it's also one, it's both actually, it's both. It's one that I love, but it's also one that I'd never do, I don't think. It's the panelling. I remember back in the 80s, everyone had dado rails and all that kind of thing. And then by the mid-90s, everyone was ripping them all out because they were seen as being dated and whatever. People hated them. Basically, I would be wary of anything that you stick to your wall, because I think it's just fashionable, and I think in the future, probably within the next 10 years, I think everybody is going to be ripping off these panels that they've nailed and stuck and glued to the walls. It's going to ruin their walls. We're all going to need replastering. But at the same time, I also think it looks good. I think it does look good in the here and now, but I'm just thinking 10 years time, I think everyone's going to be ripping them out, and it's just not going to look good unless you've got real paneling. I don't mind, real antique paneling, or even if it's paneling that is actual wood that you stick to the wall, that's like all wood, not just sort of fake paneling where you paint in the middle of it. I just think it's one of those interior trends that is very much of the here and now. It's a bit like, do you remember glossy kitchens, when everyone was having gloss kitchens, and then they were red and black and white were the most popular colours, and now you look at it and you think, sorry for anyone who's got a high gloss kitchen, but most people, it's just very dated. So I probably would not do paneling, but I also think it looks good. It's a weird one. So that's probably my answer for that one. What's the hardest part about being YouTubers and the most rewarding? The rewarding bit's really easy, because when I get comments from you guys telling me how much something has helped you, or got you through something, or got you through a hard time, or even just, we've had loads of comments recently about how people find our weekly vlogs in particular comfort viewing, and I think that's just really nice to show that we've helped people, and that what we do affects people's lives in a really positive way. We're not exactly the Nobel Peace Prize, are we? But if we can affect or help someone in any kind of way, even if it's just bringing a little bit of comfort on a Monday, just that familiarity, then hey. Also, I think it's quite rewarding presenting a married same-sex couple in the way that we do, because we don't really make our vlogs about being a same-sex couple, but just having that presence out there to sort of, if anyone's, I think I said this in the last Q&A, if anybody, didn't really know what it's like, what a real couple is like in a same-sex relationship or marriage, you've only got to watch our vlogs and you'll realise quite quickly that it's actually very similar to, if not almost exactly the same as to anyone else. What was the other bit about your question? The hardest part about being YouTubers? The hardest part is not really having any certainty, having sort of, mostly all of your eggs in one basket, although I have tried to diversify into other things. It's that, and also there is a lot of control by YouTube. So, the YouTube algorithm is a law unto itself. What YouTube pays you is a law unto itself. We never know. It's constantly changing. They decide how much your views are worth based on you as an individual channel. So there's nothing that's standardized. I suppose it's the uncertainty, and that kind of goes into being self-employed as well. So being a self-employed person since 2018, you do have that lack of uncertainty. I can't have a sick day, for example. I think I've spoke about this before. Well, I can have a sick day, but if I don't do anything on that sick day, then I don't get anything for it. So there are perks, I think, to having an employed job, but I certainly wouldn't want to go back to one unless I absolutely had to. Do you make a full-time living from content creation, or do you have any other income streams? So Matt does have a full-time job, which, like I said, he works from home, so he does that, which is why I do the majority of the filming and talking and the video editing and all the things behind the scenes that you don't see, like all the email correspondence, brand correspondence. I do lots of work on my new build homes group. If you didn't know, I run the largest new build homes group in the UK on Facebook. It's called New Build Homes UK. So I manage that. There's lots of things that I do that you do not see on camera. So that's kind of how we do it at the moment. I don't have any other revenue streams outside of social media and brand partnerships. That is how I make my living, and it is how I've made my living since 2018 full time. So yes, you know, it can be a career. What's a video idea that you've always wanted to film but haven't yet? That is easy peasy. I've always had the idea of, I wanted to make a video spending a night or spending a weekend in a show home. I would love to do, you know, an overnight stay in a show home, properly testing it out, full on, you know, having breakfast in there, cooking in there, having a bath or a shower in there, having a pamper night. Basically, effectively using it a bit like a hotel, but for 1 or 2 nights. That would be a really fabulous idea, and I would love to do that. I'd also love to do a proper brand collaboration with a hotel or a cruise or something of that nature, where you actually have permission to vlog and, you know, go places that are a little bit more, I suppose, restricted normally. So I'd love to do that. I'd love to have more collaborations with holidays, hotels, all that good stuff. Right, the last question. If you could swap lives with any other creator or couple for a day, who would it be and why? Oh, there's so many different, and I still need to make that video where I talk about who we actually watch on YouTube, because I watch so many different varied creators. I think in terms of life for a day, I think I'd love to swap with Shane Dawson and Rylan Adams, because they're sort of where we'd like to be in about 5 years' time. You know, they've got successful podcasts, successful YouTube channels. They've got a couple of really nice houses, although I know that they've done a bit of a house swap at the moment in their lives. They've gone through the surrogacy process and they have children. So I just think it would be fun to be them for a day. But I think it's always important to remember that we are happy being ourselves, and, you know, although it might be fun to swap lives with someone for a day, I think it's always nice to remember what you have in your own home life and what you've got to be thankful for. And I know that I've got a lot to be thankful for. When I came out of hospital last November now, I had a real sense of taking stock of what I had got. I've got friends, I've got family, I've got a now husband, I've got a home, I've got a job, I've got people, fabulous people that I speak to on the internet. So I've got a lot, and I wouldn't necessarily want to, as fun as it would be to spend a day in their lives, I would always want to come back and be me. Now, there was one other question actually that wasn't the last question, because a lot of people also said, what's going on with children, surrogacy, what are you doing? And I did want to talk about that. So when I came out of hospital, my concentration and focus was on getting better, and I do feel largely like I'm at a point now where we can start thinking again about a family. And we have gone to a surrogacy event together. I went to one before the wedding on my own because Matt was running, so he couldn't come. So we've been to 2 within the last 2 months, and we do plan on going to others. It's not easy and it's not very straightforward. I mean, we had one comment on last week's vlog about surrogacy, and someone was saying, I don't want to say who it was, but a very well-meant, well-intended comment, which I absolutely understood why that comment was made. And it was about, well, you know, there are other options like adoption or fostering or that kind of thing. You know, why have your heart completely set on surrogacy? And there was a few other comments made, and I think for someone outside of the UK, you've got to understand that in the UK, surrogacy is regulated and the laws surrounding it are very different to other places in the world. It's very, I think the word is altruistic. It's an altruistic approach where the surrogate cannot profit from being a surrogate, basically. And I think in other parts of the world, surrogates can charge a fee, or you know, they can profit from having it. I think that's where the idea and the concept about sort of buying a baby comes from, and that's where I think a lot of people don't agree with surrogacy, because they think it's that you're buying a baby. In the UK, every law and regulation is in place so that that does not happen. You can't buy a baby in the UK. Surrogacy is altruistic. Surrogates can only claim expenses, and those expenses have to be in the form of receipts. They have to keep receipts of what they've spent. So it could be things like maternity bras, maternity clothes, maybe if they needed a bit of help with cleanings, maybe a cleaning fee, that kind of thing. So basically they have to keep receipts, and then when all the process is ended, you actually have to have it all signed off by a judge in a law court. So they can't claim for anything that is unreasonable as a pregnancy expense. It's very, very different to other places in the world. So basically, you're not buying a baby. And the community that we've sort of joined is all about making friends first, and then it's up to the surrogate to offer to be your surrogate. And this is where we're stuck. So we haven't met anyone that we've sort of matched and gelled with enough for them to offer to be our surrogate. I always say that you get out of it what you put into it, and really over the last year we haven't put a lot of effort in, so we can't really expect to get that much out and back. So at the moment we're still sort of dipping our toes back into that water. We have also been thinking more about adoption and fostering, or foster to adopt as well, so that potentially is a route we could go down. It would certainly be quicker, but yeah, things are not really finalized at the moment, so we have a lot of things to explore. Right, I think that's it. I think I've yacked at you for long enough, so thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and of course do hit that bell so that you know whenever we upload a new video. So from us, mwah, to you all my lovies, and goodbye.